The New York Knicks, they're back in action on Wednesday night when they start a three-game road trip to close out the year. They'll do that in Oklahoma City. So let's preview tonight's matchup with the Thunder. We're going to talk some Knickerbocker basketball. We're going to do it with the Dean of Knicks Film School. My guy, Jonathan Macri, joins me now. J-Mac, how's it going?
It's going good, Dex. Obviously nice to get a Christmas Day win for the Knicks. Finally beat the Milwaukee Bucks. And yeah, it's been an intense month of basketball, a lot of good competition, which I know we're going to talk about, but excited to see how they match up against this Thunder team.
Yeah, excited to see it. Thunder, good team. We will get to that in a second. But before we get to Wednesday night's game, I want to talk to you about Immanuel Quickley, whose minutes are down this season, but his production is similar to what it was last season when he was the Sixth Man of the Year runner-up. Considering his positive production, should IQ get more playing time?
I think there's two different questions there. Should Immanuel Quickley, based on how good he is and the production and what he offers a team whenever he's on the floor, get more than 24 minutes a night? Absolutely. Is that feasible here in New York with the roster that they have and all the different pieces at play? That, I think, is a little bit dicier. Look, you're not going to find a bigger Immanuel Quickley fan than me. I'm wearing my IQ T-shirt right now in anticipation of tonight's game. But as Tibbs says, they have a lot of talent, and the most talented guy on their roster, I would argue, is Jalen Brunson, who is a small guard and is defensively challenged, and obviously Quickley brings a lot on the defensive end, but more off-ball than on-ball. And I think you're always going to get a little leeriness from Tibbs. I know their defense hasn't been great this year, but he wants to have a sturdy foundation of defense, and the notion of putting too many guards on the floor at once is always going to scare him a little bit. So I think that's really what it comes down to, but there's no denying the team's better off when he's out there.
Yeah, no doubt about it. On-off numbers are tremendous for Quickley right now. Now, back on December 5th, the Knicks, they started a tough 14-game stretch that included 10 road games and 9 contests against teams with winning records. They're 10 games into that stretch with a 5-5 record. What have you made of how New York has performed during the stretch this month?
I think it's impossible to talk about this stretch without highlighting the absence of Mitchell Robinson for a healthy portion of it. I mean, I did my own personal kind of check-in rankings on the team after 20 games, and I had Mitchell Robinson as their second most important player after only Jalen Brunson. He was the foundation of everything they did on both ends of the court, offensive rebounding, obviously, and then the way he's able to cover up for some of their defensive struggles is really had him on track to make an all-defense team. So I think when you factor in how well they've done against the competition, come up big in some big games against the Suns, against the Lakers, and then obviously most recently against the Bucks, I don't know how any Knicks fan can reasonably complain about where they're at. Got a couple tough games left to go before the schedule starts to lighten up a little bit. So not out of the woods yet, but so far so good.
So far, so good for the Knickerbockers. That moves us right into tonight's game on Wednesday. Knicks versus Thunder out in OKC. Thunder, they come to this one third in the West with a 19-9 record. J-Mac, what are you keeping your eye on with the Knicks in Oklahoma City, and what are the keys to the Knicks getting their second win in a row here?
Yeah, I mean, before saying anything about the matchup in particular, for any Knicks fans watching this who may be unfamiliar, this Thunder team is legit. I know, they had a lot of time spent perhaps not trying their hardest to win games over the last few years. This was expected to be a season where they were going to be in kind of that maybe 6 to 8 range out west. The fact that they're as high as they are, they just came off a resounding win over the Minnesota Timberwolves, who are number 1 in the West. I think the biggest thing for this particular matchup with New York is how the Knicks defend Chet Holmgren. He is a skilled big, even though this is his first year in the league. He sat out all of last year with an injury. They have had problems with legit, not only stretch bigs, but bigs that have an ample level of skill that are on the floor. And he's hitting a lot of threes. He could put the ball on the floor. He's a dangerous one-on-one matchup. And the only other thing I'll say is the Thunder, they don't take a ton of threes. They're borderline bottom 10 in terms of frequency, but they make the second most threes in the league in terms of rate of accuracy, the second most accurate three-point shooting team in the NBA. So we know the Knicks can get hurt by the three-point shot. So how they deal with Chet and how they cover up the three-point line, those are the two things I'll be watching for.
All right, a couple things to watch there in the matchup against the Thunder on Wednesday night. Knicks looking to pick up win number 18 on the season here. We will see if they can do that. That is Jonathan Macri of Knicks Film School taking his time to talk some Knickerbocker basketball, which is always a good thing. J-Mac, thanks, man. I will see you soon.
Always a pleasure, my friend. Be well.